Bitcoin dumping down to 99K exactly on the full moon. Today is the full moon. We're going to get it in about 6-8 hours from now, coming soon. You can see on this indicator there's the full moon. So what is in store? What is the astrology show? What's in store for us on this chaotic day with massive volatility? So we have the Bitcoin chart in the middle. This is the Bitcoin birth chart in the middle. On the outside is where the planets are in the sky today. Now you see on the bottom we have the sun here. That's exactly where the sun is from the point of view from the Earth right now. And then we have the moon up here. You see they're exactly opposing each other. They're both at 13 degrees. So this is a full moon in Taurus, and the sun is opposing at 13 degrees Scorpio. Now the fascinating thing is that this full moon is making an exact trine to the Bitcoin sun. Very interesting. This does not happen very often when we get this exact trine. So trine means it's making a perfect triangular. I mean, if you do a triangle or a line from the sun to the moon to the Bitcoin sun, and then back over here, it'd make a perfect triangle. Anyways, this is the exact trine because it is 4 signs away, 4 signs down the zodiac to the Bitcoin sun here. So the Bitcoin sun is in Capricorn. This full moon is 13 degrees Taurus, and making that exact trine there. So trine is usually very positive. So, but the interesting thing is that we're getting this dump. So typically with full moons, we can get corrections. That's typically what happens. Typically, Bitcoin dumps sometimes ahead of the full moon and then gets a rebound. So we'll look, but it's very interesting. Usually we don't get the correction exactly on the full moon like we are right now. We're getting in the red currently. But let's look at previous times perhaps that we have seen a dump on the full moon. It hasn't happened very often that we get a correction exactly on the full moon. Usually it happens like a few days before. Now, I mean, we are also getting a correction, a few days before the full moon, but very, very close to the full moon. And right now we're getting a further correction on today's full moon. It was almost exact back here when we had the April 7th crash, but it already started to rebound once we got to the full moon. All right, so oftentimes when we do get a crash on the full moon, we can get a rally back up. Similar to what we saw right here, where we did get a crash on that full moon and an immediate rally back up to a new all-time high, by the way. But it doesn't happen every time, because there are times where we had the full moon and then it actually dumped after. But that was at the market peak there, an all-time high. We really don't get that many full moons where exactly on the day we get a correction. This was pretty close, but still, it was, by the time we got to the full moon, it was already recovering. I want to go back actually to the previous bull run peak. Oh, this is a perfect one. This kind of looks like what we were experiencing here, is we got a big correction right into this full moon. It actually continued to correct a couple days after the full moon, instilling maximum fear in the markets before a massive rebound. So that was when the Silicon Valley Bank collapsed. Excuse me. All right, so also here, wow, the FTX crash. FTX. Wow, so this was actually a total lunar eclipse, though, so this was a massive event, obviously. We got that big crash and then a little bit of a rebound. But it did not get a full recovery. It's still, that was the bear market bottom. But let's see major crashes that were close to the all-time high. Well, this full moon here, December 2021, we got a bit of a correction there and a rebound, but it didn't last very long. So that's certainly possible. This wasn't super major, but we got a crash February 2022, crashed down and eventually rebounded. All right, so oh, here's a really interesting one. September 2021, we got a massive dump on the full moon. Boom. And a rebound, and then another test of that level of the full moon before it went back up. So we could be getting something like that. Very interesting. Pretty brutal crash here. But it's nothing we haven't seen before. If you look at how far we've crashed so far from the peak, only 21%. So far in this bull run, about 30% has been pretty normal. That could get us all the way down to 87 even. Yeah, that would be nothing we haven't seen already. So the interesting thing is one thing that hinted that we were... Oh, actually, I want to share what I was saying in my previous video. So I did warn y'all that we were heading into some astrology and some things that were not looking so good. And so these are the videos where I was warning you. I was saying, first I told you I was selling 3 weeks ago. So I took 50% profits. And then I sent out another video. I wanted to warn y'all. Said, 3 to 6 months of pain for crypto. Sending out a warning. And then I said, if everyone thinks crypto's going up, so we kept seeing all these like gold charts. Everybody's saying crypto's going to go follow gold. Good, but maybe next year. If everyone thinks crypto's going up, maybe we're going down. And then, so I did that video 8 days ago, and now we're getting this massive crash, y'all. All right. And in terms of the astrology, I came up with this video a week ago for the November astrology, and I showed y'all all of these negative transits hitting. And this specifically, Mars opposing Uranus is happening on the full moon, and I'll show you here in the chart. Is on this full moon, we're getting one of the most volatile aspects we could get with the most volatile planet, Uranus, which is highly unpredictable, wild swings, volatile. Uranus is opposing Mars exactly, and Mars is a very intense, energetic planet that can bring wild ups and downs as well. It's known as the malefic planet, one of the malefics. So we're getting an exact opposition, which creates tension, volatility, conflict between these very wild, intense planets. Uranus being extremely unpredictable, bringing major market swings, and then Mars being one of the malefics, most aggressive planets energetically. They're getting this massive opposition on this full moon. So not surprised we're getting this major swing in the crypto markets right now. All coins are getting crushed. Oh, it's brutal, but I'm really glad that I told y'all that I was taking profits 3 weeks ago. Yeah, because I was preparing for this. So, but, the good news is that, even after we get through this, so after this full moon, by tomorrow, we're going to get past this exact opposition between Uranus and Mars. Mars will go to 1 degree. And then, on this full moon, let's see, when is this happening exactly? 9 p.m. tonight. So that's about 12 hours from now. So about 12 hours from the start of this video, we're going to be getting this full moon exactly, making this positive trine to the Bitcoin sun. So there's fingers crossed that we could get a rebound here. It's not guaranteed. Even perhaps the rebound might be a small rebound, or we might even have to wait 5 days before we get a rebound too. It's certainly possible. So either we get it, within the next 24 hours or perhaps 5 days. But these markets are tricky, highly volatile, difficult markets. But the crazy thing is that we get then right after that we get Uranus retrograding into Taurus, which could bring even more volatility. And if that wasn't enough, 2 days later we're going to get Mercury retrograde, which typically we get. Mercury retrograde is going to last how many? Almost 3 weeks, all the way to the end of November, and typically we get a bit more downside with that. But the only saving grace is, I mean, if Jupiter retrograde, it typically brings a major market shift. So in the chance that somehow this turns bullish, then we could get a pump up November. But let's look at exactly the transits here. So I think we first got to get past Uranus switching into Taurus. As you see, it's red and it's going to retrograde back into the Taurus sign. We haven't been there since June of this year. That's going to be activating this highly unpredictable energy of Uranus. Maybe there's a small chance we all of a sudden flip bullish. It's possible, but I'm not going to predict that. I'm not going to make any guarantees whatsoever because this is the most unpredictable planet. But the good news is that if we go to the Bitcoin astrology specifically, we are getting a couple really positive transits on the 14th and the 19th. So the 14th, we get Neptune sextiling the Bitcoin Jupiter. Neptune can, I mean, I don't get too excited about this because Neptune's one of the most spiritual planets. It's like the unseen realms, the unseen, energies, making a positive sextile to the Bitcoin Jupiter. So it's definitely positive. It could bring expansion. But even better, we get Uranus trining the Bitcoin Jupiter on the 19th. So there's a chance, perhaps after Uranus switches signs on the 8th, right here, saying Uranus going into Taurus, there's a chance that we start to get more positive expansion for the crypto market. There's a chance. I'm not going to guarantee that, but if we're lucky, maybe these two transits could give us a nice rebound. All right, that would happen about the middle of November. Now, there is a concern also, a major concern happening on November 18th, and I can cover that in future videos, but I did cover that in my Bitcoin November forecast, why there's a big concern also on November 18th. So if we do get a rebound, it might not last as long as we would like. So that is the main things I wanted to share. We will see if this full moon turns positive here with this beautiful trine to the Bitcoin sun. But man, this is a extremely volatile week astrologically, and it's showing up in the crypto market. I mean, Uranus is going to go into Taurus. Then right here, Mercury goes retrograde. You see it turns red there. And if that wasn't enough, Jupiter turns retrograde right after. So, man, this is a wild, wild month. Lots of retrogrades. Major shifts in the crypto market are very likely. We're already seeing that. Major volatility, major ups and downs. And that's exactly what we're getting. All right, let's see. If you have any questions, type it in the comments below. And thanks everybody for tuning in. It's a wild market as usual. Hopefully this video and take a look at my previous videos as well to see what I was saying, to see the warnings. We do have this trend line right here. So there is a chance that we could bounce perhaps around 96, it looks like. Maybe 96 or 95, 94. But if we break through this trend line and we confirm, that's not good. But the fact that we're getting this trend line showing up here right around this full moon shows that we could get a bit of a rebound. All right, around this level here. All right, but we don't want to stay under 100K for too long. We need to get a rebound here. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me know what questions you guys have in the comments. Let's see. What's my end of November prediction based on the Astro? Take a look at my November predictions, but yeah, November 18th was not looking good with the Bitcoin BlackRock ETF astrology chart. So we're getting a major Saturn transit on the 18th. So that's a big concern. Did I sell all my cryptos or still holding? I'm still holding 50%. Actually no, I'm holding a bit more, probably 60%. I would like to sell a bit more again. I want to get back down to, I don't know. I'm hoping for a rebound here, so I'm about 60% in the market, 40% cash. That's where I'm at right now. All right, so in all transparency, I think all of the influencers on crypto and YouTubers should say where they, what their cash positions are, and how much they are exposed in the crypto markets, because most influencers don't even talk about that, right? So I want to be one of the transparent ones where we're being honest. He is sitting in loss. No, I am not. I don't like it, AJ, when you're telling me if I'm sitting in a loss or profits. I am not sitting in a loss. I have doubled my crypto in the last 2 years. So don't put words in my mouth. Thank you. All right, thanks everybody for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.